Did you know that 3 simple 5-cent coins from 1964, 1973, and 1994 capture over 50 years of American history? They may look the same, but each tells a story of change, innovation, and national pride. The 1964 nickel marked the end of an old minting era. The 1973 coin reflected a modern and ambitious America, and by 1994, the design had become a bridge between tradition and technology. Each Jefferson nickel holds a secret from its time, from silver shortages to new minting revolutions. Stay till the end, because what you'll learn about these coins will forever change how you see pocket change. Welcome to Numis Explorer. Top 1. A simple 1964 United States 5-cent coin, often called the Jefferson nickel, carries a story that stretches back to the early 20th century. This coin might look ordinary, but it's one of the most important coins in American history. The 1964 Jefferson nickel was the last of its kind to be struck in massive quantities before a major design and minting change in the years that followed. It represents a time of transition, patriotism, and precision in American coinage. On its front, you'll see the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, whose leadership and vision shaped the nation. The design is elegant yet simple, capturing the serious and determined face of a founding father who believed in liberty, progress, and democracy. The reverse side features Monticello, Jefferson's famous home in Virginia, a symbol of his intelligence, architecture, and dedication to knowledge. But beyond its appearance lies a fascinating story about minting, history, and value that most people don't know. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel that had been in circulation since 1913. When the U.S. Mint announced a new design competition, artists across the nation submitted entries to honor one of the country's greatest presidents. The winning design came from sculptor Felix Schlag, a German-born American artist whose work perfectly captured the dignity of Jefferson. His design was selected for its realism, simplicity, and the perfect balance between portrait and architecture. However, the coin you see from 1964 was not exactly the same as Schlag's original vision. Over time, subtle changes were made to improve the clarity and minting quality, especially after decades of wear and tear in circulation. By 1964, the Jefferson nickel had already become a symbol of stability and reliability in American currency, trusted and recognized everywhere. The year 1964 itself holds great importance in U.S. coin history. This was the last year that the U.S. Mint produced silver coins for general circulation, although the nickel itself did not contain silver. Still, it was a turning point in coin production because the government was facing a severe coin shortage. People began hoarding coins, thinking they might gain value due to the changes in composition and design. To solve this issue, the U.S. Mint struck an enormous number of 1,964 nickels, over 2.8 billion in total. That's one of the highest mintages in American history for any coin of its time. These coins were made at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with the Denver version marked by a small D mint mark on the reverse side, next to Monticello. This coin you see in the image has that tiny D, meaning it was produced in Denver. The composition of the 1964 Jefferson nickel is 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a silvery appearance but a durable and corrosion-resistant structure. It weighs 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. Even though it might seem like an ordinary coin, its material and structure have allowed many of these nickels to survive in circulation for decades. Some are still found in pocket change today. However, the condition of each coin greatly affects its value. A well-worn 1964 nickel might only be worth its face value, but one in uncirculated or mint condition could be worth several dollars or even more to collectors, especially if it has errors or unique features. These include die cracks, double strikes, and off-center minting, which make them rare and desirable. One of the most interesting facts about the 1964 Jefferson nickel is that it was minted continuously into 1965, even though it still carried the 1964 date. This was done to combat the coin shortage crisis and prevent confusion among the public. The Mint decided not to change the date until the shortage stabilized. As a result, collectors sometimes find it challenging to determine the true production timeline of these coins. This also makes the 1964 issue unique in U.S. minting history because no other year saw such a prolonged and massive production of nickels bearing the same date. The government even banned mint marks temporarily after 1964 to discourage coin hoarding and speculative collecting. Over the years, the Jefferson nickel design remained largely unchanged until the early 2000s. From 1938 through 2003, the design stayed true to Felix Schlag's vision, symbolizing consistency and American heritage. But in 2004 and 2005, the U.S. Mint introduced new designs known as the Westward Journey series to honor the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition, which Jefferson had authorized. Finally, in 2006, the Jefferson nickel was redesigned again with a more modern image of Jefferson facing forward, giving the coin a fresh yet respectful update. But among all these designs, the 1964 version remains one of the most iconic and recognizable, representing the end of an era and the beginning of modernization. Collectors around the world are still fascinated by the 1964 Jefferson nickel. While billions were made, only a few have survived in pristine condition. Some coins show beautiful full steps details on the Monticello design, meaning the steps on Jefferson's home are fully visible and sharply struck. These are extremely rare and highly valuable to numismatists. A 1964 D. Jefferson nickel with full steps can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on its grade and condition. Such coins are usually found in original mint rolls or proof sets that have been carefully preserved over the years. It's a perfect example of how quality and rarity can transform an ordinary coin into a collector's treasure. Historically, the 1964 Jefferson nickel also serves as a reminder of America's mid-century economic struggles and triumphs. During that period, the U.S. was dealing with inflation, rising metal costs, and the end of silver in coinage. Despite these challenges, the mint managed to produce billions of coins with incredible precision and craftsmanship. The Jefferson nickel stood strong through these changes, circulating widely across every state and territory. It became a small but powerful symbol of unity and trust, reflecting the country's resilience and innovation during times of change. Every scratch or worn surface on an old 1964 nickel tells a silent story of countless hands it passed through: workers, soldiers, students, and families. Even today, the 1964 Jefferson nickel continues to spark curiosity among coin enthusiasts and historians alike. It represents a bridge between the traditional craftsmanship of early U.S. coinage and the technological advances of modern minting. Its portrait of Jefferson reminds Americans of their rich history, their pursuit of liberty, and the vision of progress that built the nation. Whether you find it in your change jar, at a flea market, or inside a coin album, this little 5-cent piece is more than just currency. It's a living piece of American heritage. So, the next time you come across a 1964 Jefferson nickel, take a moment to appreciate its history, its artistry, and its enduring legacy in the story of the United States. Top 2. The 1973 United States 5-cent coin, commonly known as the Jefferson nickel, may look small and ordinary, but it carries within it decades of American history, artistry, and national pride. On its obverse side, it features the profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, a man remembered for his brilliance, leadership, and vision for freedom. This design has been a part of U.S. coinage since 1938, symbolizing liberty and knowledge through the face of one of America's founding fathers. The 1973 edition of this coin continues that long legacy, minted during a period of economic transition, post-war growth, and modernization in the United States. It represents a time when coins were not just used for trade, but also to reflect the country's spirit and progress. The simplicity of its design, along with the detailed craftsmanship, makes this coin a timeless piece of American heritage. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the beloved Buffalo nickel. The U.S. Mint held a national design competition to honor Thomas Jefferson and his architectural masterpiece, Monticello. The winner, Felix Schlag, created a design that was both elegant and symbolic. The obverse features Jefferson's left-facing profile, while the reverse proudly displays Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, a structure that reflects both classical beauty and Jefferson's love for architecture and innovation. By 1973, this design had already been in circulation for 35 years, and it remained largely unchanged, a testament to its perfection. The coin's artistic details, from Jefferson's curls to the delicate lines of Monticello, were deeply admired by collectors and citizens alike. It's not just a coin. It's a continuation of America's tribute to one of its greatest thinkers. In 1973, the Jefferson nickel was struck at 3 major U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia mint coins have no mint mark, while those from Denver carry a small D on the reverse side near Monticello. The San Francisco mint produced special proof coins for collectors, marked with an S. The total mintage for 1973 was enormous: over 400 million from Denver, around 400 million from Philadelphia, and a smaller number of proofs from San Francisco. These massive numbers reflected the growing U.S. economy and the continued high demand for coins in daily circulation. However, even though billions of nickels were made across different years, the 1973 versions have become quite interesting to collectors due to their variations, die states, and condition differences. The composition of the 1973 Jefferson nickel is the same as most nickels made after World War II: 75% copper and 25% nickel. This gives the coin its silvery tone, even though no silver is actually present. It weighs 5 grams and measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter. Unlike coins of other denominations that underwent composition changes over the years, the nickel's alloy remained constant, showing its durability and practicality. The metallic blend is resistant to corrosion, making the 1973 nickel one of the longest-lasting coins in circulation. Even today, many of these coins are still found in circulation, a silent reminder of the enduring value of well-crafted U.S. coinage. The early 1970s were a period of major changes for America, and the 1973 nickel was part of that story. The country had recently come out of the Vietnam War, inflation was rising, and economic challenges were everywhere. Yet, through all this, the Jefferson nickel continued to circulate steadily, a small but strong symbol of everyday American life. People used it to buy newspapers, candies, or rides on public transport, passed through the hands of millions, connecting people in quiet ways across the nation. For collectors and historians, this gives the 1973 nickel a nostalgic charm, representing a time when even the smallest coins held value and meaning in everyday transactions. Interestingly, the Jefferson nickel design has gone through very few major modifications over the decades, which is part of its charm. By 1973, the design was already considered a classic, instantly recognizable, and deeply embedded in the American identity. The inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the year 1973 are found on the obverse, while the reverse carries the Latin phrase "E pluribus unum," meaning "out of many, one." This powerful phrase reflects the unity of the United States, a fitting message for a coin that circulated during a time of both political tension and national pride. Beneath Monticello, the words 5 cents and United States of America complete the coin's patriotic symbolism. Every detail tells a story of art, history, and craftsmanship. For collectors, the value of the 1973 Jefferson nickel depends greatly on its condition and mint mark. In circulated condition, it generally holds face value, 5 cents. However, uncirculated or proof examples can be worth much more. A perfectly preserved 1973 S-proof coin with mirror-like surfaces can fetch several dollars or more, especially if graded by a professional coin service. There are also varieties that attract attention, such as coins with die cracks, doubling on the lettering, or weak strikes that show partial details of Monticello. Some of these rare varieties can command significant premiums in the coin market, making the 1973 nickel a small but meaningful treasure for enthusiasts. The Jefferson nickel series as a whole holds an important place in U.S. coinage history. From 1938 to 2003, the design remained consistent, one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. It wasn't until 2004 that the Mint introduced temporary changes in honor of the Lewis and Clark expedition, and later, in 2006, a new forward-facing portrait of Jefferson was added. Yet, collectors still cherish the older versions, like the 1973 nickel, for their authenticity and historical continuity. These coins remind people of the artistry of Felix Schlag and the vision of Jefferson, whose ideals of liberty and progress continue to inspire generations. Today, The 1973 Jefferson nickel remains both common and special. Common because millions were minted and many still circulate. Special because each one carries the spirit of its time, the economic growth, the social changes, and the quiet endurance of American life. It's more than just a coin. It's a witness to 50 years of history, trade, and memory. Every scratch and mark tells a story of pockets, wallets, hands, and years gone by. Whether you find one in your change, inherit it from a collection, or display it in a coin album, the 1973 Jefferson nickel is a reminder that even the smallest pieces of metal can hold the weight of a nation's story, pride, and legacy. Top 3. The 1994 United States 5-cent coin, known worldwide as the Jefferson nickel, is more than just a small piece of metal. It's a living piece of American history that connects the modern era to the traditions of the past. On its obverse, it proudly features the left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, whose leadership, intelligence, and vision helped shape the foundation of the country. The reverse side displays Monticello, Jefferson's beautiful Virginia estate, and a symbol of his creativity and architectural brilliance. The coin's design, although simple, carries deep meaning: liberty, knowledge, and the enduring spirit of America. Even though the 1994 nickel might seem ordinary to most people, for coin collectors and historians, it represents the end of the 20th century era of classic design, a period that held on to traditional artistry before major design changes began in the early 2000s. The Jefferson nickel series began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel that had circulated since 1913. A design competition was held by the U.S. Mint to create a coin honoring Thomas Jefferson and his home, Monticello. The winning design came from sculptor Felix Schlag, whose creation perfectly balanced simplicity, realism, and symbolism. His design first appeared in 1938 and remained largely unchanged for decades, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. By 1994, the same iconic design was still being used, showing how timeless and beloved Schlag's work had become. The portrait of Jefferson and the image of Monticello had come to represent not only the man himself but also the nation's appreciation for its founding ideals and cultural heritage. In 1994, the Jefferson nickel was produced at 3 major U.S. Mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint coins carry no mint mark. The Denver Mint coins feature a small D on the reverse side near Monticello, and the San Francisco Mint coins have an S, marking them as proof versions specially made for collectors. The total mintage numbers were high: more than 600 million from Philadelphia, over 700 million from Denver, and several million proofs from San Francisco. These massive production figures show the continued importance of the nickel in everyday transactions during that time. Even though the U.S. economy was becoming more digital, physical coins still played a vital role in daily commerce, from vending machines to transportation fares, making the 1994 nickel a true coin of the people. The composition of the 1994 Jefferson nickel is 75% copper and 25% nickel, a durable combination that has remained consistent since 1946. It weighs exactly 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. This metal mix gives the coin its silvery appearance, even though it contains no silver. The alloy is known for its strength and resistance to wear, which is why nickels from decades ago are often still found in good condition today. The U.S. Mint perfected this formula during World War II when it briefly experimented with silver nickels to save nickel metal for war production, but by 1946, the traditional composition was restored. By 1994, this blend had proven itself as one of the most practical and reliable coin materials in American history. The early 1990s were an interesting period for U.S. coinage. Technology was advancing, and coin production had become far more precise compared to earlier decades. The Mint was using modernized presses, digital design methods, and improved die production techniques to ensure sharper details and longer-lasting dies. Yet, even with these advances, the 1994 Jefferson nickel remained a classic, the same portrait and design that had been seen by generations of Americans. It symbolized consistency in a rapidly changing world. The inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" on the obverse reflected America's enduring faith and freedom, while the Latin motto "E Pluribus Unum" on the reverse meaning out of many, one, continued to remind people of unity amid diversity, a message still relevant today. For collectors, the 1994 Jefferson nickel is not particularly rare in its regular form, but it holds great interest in high grades and special varieties. Coins that are uncirculated or graded as MS, mint state, can be worth several dollars depending on condition. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, especially those with deep cameo contrast, are also highly valued for their mirror-like surfaces and sharp details. There are a few known varieties among 1994 nickels, such as those with die cracks, double die lettering, or weak strikes on Monticello, which attract collectors searching for rare and unique pieces. Even a small minting error can turn an ordinary nickel into a prized collectible worth hundreds of dollars. The Jefferson Nickels design has always represented more than its face value. It stands for the ideas of freedom, progress, and knowledge. Jefferson himself was not only a statesman but also a scientist, inventor, and architect, making him the perfect figure to appear on a coin meant for everyday use. By 1994, the design had been circulating for more than 55 years, and people across America had grown up with it. The coin had witnessed generations of change, wars, moon landings, technology revolutions, and economic shifts. Through it all, the nickel remained a quiet witness, passing from one hand to another, telling a story of continuity and endurance. Even though the design stayed the same for decades, major changes were on the horizon. In the early 2000s, the U.S. Mint decided to update the Jefferson nickel to commemorate the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition, an event Jefferson had personally sponsored. New designs were introduced in 2004 and 2005 under the Westward Journey series, followed by a completely new forward-facing Jefferson design in 2006. This made the 1994 Jefferson nickel part of the final generation of the classic Schlag design, marking the end of an era. For this reason, collectors view coins from the 1990s as historically significant. They represent the closing chapters of one of America's most enduring coin designs. Today, the 1994 United States 5-cent coin continues to circulate, though many have been worn down by decades of use. Still, each one carries a sense of history and meaning. It's not just a coin. It's a small, enduring symbol of American craftsmanship, history, and pride. Whether you find one in your pocket change or inside a coin collection, the 1994 Jefferson nickel reminds us that even the smallest pieces of currency can reflect a nation's values, resilience, and artistic beauty. From its smooth metallic surface to the fine lines of Jefferson's portrait, every detail tells a story of liberty, learning, and the lasting strength of the United States.